Then we have Coach on. Coach, good morning.
Morning. How are you this morning?
Uh, Good. How are you? Thanks for being with us. While we wait on questions, Coach, could you take a quick minute to comment on your team as you enter the Colorado State game this weekend?
Right. Well, Colorado State is a very good team. They've been played very impressively this year and had a lot of opportunities against Colorado that they squandered, with penalties, calling back touchdowns. So this is going to be a very challenging game for us. Our focus needs to be on, our players respecting their talent and focusing on improving and playing better as a group and the opportunities that are created for new players certainly need to elevate their game. So that's kind of where we're at.
First up, we have David Pascal at Chattanooga Times Free Press.
Hey, Nick, what has kind of impressed you the most about Jamie Mosley's development from a walk-on who redshirted there to a guy who's now, obviously giving you a lot of contributions?
Right. Well, he's worked really, really hard. He's gotten a lot bigger and a lot stronger. Very conscientious guy who very important to him to know what to do and exactly how to do it and do his job well. And I think that's why he's been able to make a contribution to the team.
He said after last week's game that, he was going to Alabama games as a kid, wearing a Bama T-shirt for a while with CJ. I mean, obviously you started recruiting CJ not long after you got there. Is Jamie kind of a guy that lets you know you've been there 11 years, that you've kind of known him all the way through, it seems?
Yeah, well, I remember when I went to CJ's house, he was just a small young person, we've known him for a long time.
Thank you.
Next is Steve Moulton at WZZN.
Hey, Coach. Good morning.
Morning.
Was hoping you could comment on Colorado State's quarterback, Nick Stevens, and what you've seen on the tape from him.
Well, he does a great job of executing their offense. They do a lot of check with me's, and he's a smart player that gets them in the right play a lot, and very, very efficient in the passing game. They've got a lot of good concepts that they use. They've got good skilled players. They create great balance on offense, and he takes what the defense gives, and he's a very accurate passer, and probably from a passing standpoint, maybe the most efficient guy we played against so far this year.
And in terms of coming off of an injury, how would you evaluate how Sean Dion has done so far this year, Coach?
He's done really well. I mean, he's player of the week 1 week, and I know it's been a struggle for him to get back to where he wants to be, and he's worked really, really hard, and we're very pleased with his progress and his leadership, and his performance and production so far has been very good.
Thank you, Coach.
Next is Ted Sabel of Sports USA Radio.
Good morning, Coach. We're airing the Florida-Tennessee game this Saturday, and I'm curious how you see from not too far away the kind of difficulties that Coach McElwain has to be going through in Gainesville. And have you ever had to deal with anything similar? I don't recall any of your programs with hurricane situations in the past.
Well, when I was at the Dolphins, we had a situation. So I think any time that as a coach, and I know Coach Mack's got to be going through this right now, your team gets disrupted with something that takes them out of their routine of how they practice every day, how they prepare every day. I think it makes it much more difficult for players, not to get affected by external factors, and obviously a hurricane, because of how it affects people's families and things like that, is something that affects people, and rightfully so. It's something they should be concerned about. So I think the real challenge is to get the players to focus and not be affected by the disruption that something like this causes your routine.
Yeah, how difficult is that in your mind to not just do that, but more from a personal standpoint, because you're trying to just gather life together back to normal?
Well, it's difficult. There's no question about it, and you got to try to get people to separate and focus on their family. But when they're there for football and getting ready for the game, try to focus on that, knowing that they really can't do anything about that part of it at that time, but certainly respect that when they're not there so that they support their family in every way that they can.
Appreciate the time, Coach.
Coach, we'll finish you up with Kelly Lyell, the Coloradoan.
Hey, Coach, just wanted to ask you real quick, if there's any one thing about Colorado State that concerns you the most, what would it be?
Well, I'd say overall as a team, they're very well coached. They play with a lot of toughness. They compete. They've done a great job getting takeaways on defense. They do a great job of executing their offense, score a lot of points, play well on special teams. This is a very good football team all the way around.
So there's not any one thing you're really focused on this week. It's just little everything playing well.
Well, if I said there was one thing that I was focused on and we got beat with something else, I think when you're a coach, you're focusing on a lot of things. You want to take care of the ball on offense. You want to execute in all segments of the game. You're concerned about the good receiver. You're concerned about the good quarterback. You're concerned about the turnovers they get on defense. So I think it's unfair to ask me that I'm focused on one thing because there's a lot of things to focus on.
Thanks.
Coach, thank you.